Hello everybody, Mr. Sanford here. I'm going to go over a quick reteach with you on making measurements. What's going to happen here is I'm going to make these 4 measurements and I'm going to model my thought process while I'm making those measurements. And as that happens, as I go through each 4, you should be able to narrow down a list of 4 different steps that you're going to use to make measurements going forward. It should be something short and easy to remember and easy to use. When I'm done making those measurements, you've got some practice problems over here on the right side, a spot to fill in each of those measurements. And if you want additional practice, there are some links down here that you can use to go to some measurement activities that are online. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. For the first measurement, I'm going to do this top graduated cylinder here. And the first thing we've got to do is determine the scale. So we have to figure out what each of these lines represent. We go from 15 to 16, and there's 10 different divisions there. That means each of those lines represents 0.1. So step 1, I need to determine the scale. And so I determine the scale, and I go up here 15, and I get halfway between 15 and 16, so I've got 15.5 and 15.6. So I'm sorry, yeah, 15.6, I make it up to that. So I need to ask myself, the second step is the measurement right on the line? And if it is, I need to add a 0 as the estimated digit. And it looks like this is right on the line here. So we're going to add a 0 as our estimated digit. So when we write this down, we write 15.6, and then we add that 0 as our estimated digit. So this one is 15.6 milliliters. Let's do the next one together. So step 1, we're going to determine the scale. We go from 30 to 40 here, 10 divisions. That means each line represents 1 milliliter. We measure up. We see we get to 35, 36, 37, but not quite to 38. And we need to figure out if that's right on the line or not. So the second step is we're going to ask ourselves, is it right on the line? And this time the answer is no. So we need to go to the third step. And we need to ask ourselves, is it in the middle, less, or more? And so based on the answer to that, we're going to choose a number. And it turns out that this one looks like it is more than the middle. It's above the middle of that gap there. So whenever we choose more, we have to pick a number from 6 to 9. So we know we made it to 37, and it's more than halfway. It's more than the middle of that gap. So we choose a number between 6 and 9, and I chose 8 here. So we need to add an 8 to our value, 37.8 milliliters. Okay, let's check out the next example. The first thing we've got to do is determine the scale. And here we have from 4 to 5, and each division is going to represent 0.1 milliliters. And then we look at our measurement, we make it to 4.5, 4.6, and 4.7, and we ask ourselves, is it right on the line? And the answer is no. So we need to ask the second question, is it in the middle, less, or more? And this time it looks like it falls right in the middle of this gap. So when it falls in the middle, we're going to add a 5 to our measurement. So we made it to 4.7, and because it's in the middle, we're going to add a 5. So 4.75 is our measurement there. And these are all milliliters. For the last one I'd like to show you, it's a length measurement. So the first thing we're going to do is determine the scale by ones, right? 1 centimeter each line. And then we're going to look at our measurement and see if it falls on the line. And if it does, we add a 0, but it doesn't here. So we need to ask ourselves a second question. Is it in the middle, less, or more? Remember, middle would mean we add a 5. More would mean we add 6 to 9, somewhere in there. And less would mean we add anywhere from 1 to 4. And it looks like this is less than halfway. So we're going to pick a number from 1 to 4. So I'm going to choose to add a 3 to our measurement. So 7, and then I'm adding a 3, so 7.3 centimeters. So those steps you should have determined are step 1, determine the scale. Step 2, if it's right on the line, add a 0 as the estimated digit. Step 3, ask middle, less, or more. Step 4, middle equals a 5. That is what we add. Less equals 1 to 4 that we add. And more equals 6 to 9 that we add. You pick one of those. All right, guys. So you've got measurements to make, practice that you can do in addition to these. So there will be an answer key posted on Classroom with this post as well. All right, thanks, guys.